never wants to hear this, but money is a very real motivator in the National Football League. And your favorite team and your favorite players aren't any exception to it. Good morning to you. Good Friday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates in the same place that you found this. There are general managers throughout the realm of professional sports who prefer to have as many players on their roster as possible in the final year of their respective contracts. There are studies, and there are long-standing, all-encompassing studies to prove that professional athletes will perform at their peak, will stay healthier, will be better leaders, will do everything in the final year of a contract. Or, depending on the specific circumstance of that athlete, the final 2 years of the contract. If, say, it's a quarterback who would normally be getting a deal the year before the lame duck year. Does that make sense? But for the most part, we're talking about the final few months, the final opportunity that the athlete has to show what they're worth. Believe it or not, no, I'm not going to bring up Najee Harris's contract. I don't believe Najee needs motivation, and I don't believe that the Steelers did anything to push any kind of buttons with him by not exercising that fifth-year option. My belief, in fact, is exactly the opposite, that he's going to get a longer-term contract and that it's going to happen before the season opens in Atlanta. But keeping in mind that this franchise has a head coach who is unafraid and unapologetic about pushing every possible button at his disposal to motivate, consider that Najee's going to have something there. Consider that whatever that circumstance might be, it would also impact Jaylen Warren, right? And then keep going on the offense. This is fun. Pat Freiermuth, entering the final year of his contract, has what he himself believes is the first real chance of his NFL career to show what he can do as a pass-catching tight end. How about George Pickens? All of a sudden seeing the market erupt around the league for veteran wide receivers. Seriously, that position more than any other has found a new threshold this summer. And then there's my favorite position in this equation, and it's only the most important one, because you have not one, but two quarterbacks playing as total lame ducks. Now, listen, Russell Wilson's going to be just fine financially for the rest of his and all of his descendants' lives. He's already made unimaginable money, so he's not going to be motivated by money per se, but if you see and hear or even read the way Wilson's been carrying himself ever since the Steelers acquired him, this is someone who is exceptionally eager to continue his NFL career and seemingly to continue it here in Pittsburgh. He's been on a borderline political tour the way he's handling himself in our area. And I'm not knocking it. I think it's actually kind of cool. But it's unmistakably some type of internal pressure that he's applying to himself or a goal that he's got. The motivation is visible and it's uncommon, and I'm okay with it. Justin Fields. Now, we're talking about everything wrapped into that scenario because Fields just might be playing for his football future as a starter. Because if we're being real here, once you cross over a certain line into your 20s, you are Mitch Trubisky. And I don't mean that in a good way. You go straight from prospect to suspect, and you don't pass go and you don't collect $200, let alone $200 million. Fields is aware of that, and I don't have to wonder about that one because he's talked about it. He is bound and determined to build himself back up into being a starter. He, you'll recall, was the one who'd hoped to be traded to Pittsburgh. Even thanked the management in Chicago for making that happen because he felt he'd have the fairest, most honest chance to get back to starting here. My friends, that is a lot of this type of motivation all on one side of the football. And it's the side of the football that could most use any type of uplifting. It's just something to think about. Not everything is X's and O's. Not everything is even talent-based. I can tell you unequivocally that sports executives, if they were studying the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, this would be one of the first things that they would notice and applaud. When we come back, J1Q. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly, and George. LGKG is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents people hurt in car accidents or who need help with workers' comp or medical malpractice. When the attorneys at LGKG make you a promise, they keep it. They've been keeping promises in our region for over 80 years. LGKG's been AV rated, the highest rating a law firm can receive, and they've been designated super lawyers. That's actually a thing for over 15 years. It's a rare combination. LGKG has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them by visiting lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. LGKG. Today's J1Q comes from Demond, who says, "Hey DK, I love Cam Hayward. Instead of giving him an extension, would you be opposed to trading him? Maybe Omar Khan could use Cam to get Brandon Ayuk. Maybe Cam would be cool with being traded to a contender that might be willing to give him the money that he wants. A win-win on both sides, maybe." Demond, I could end the show in about 8 seconds by saying none of that's going to happen. Cam's going to get signed, and that's that. Because to be honest with you, that actually is my answer. However, I'll entertain this. To an extent, anyway. Cam's going to sign. Cam's going to get an extension. Cam's going to continue to be a Steeler. Cam's going to retire a Steeler. He's going to be, to use his own terminology, a one-helmet guy. And as long as I'm on the subject of intangibles today, and I know that intangibles aren't necessarily all that cool, in the most current form of analysis, everything is about breaking something down via video or breaking it down via advanced metrics. And while I appreciate and utilize both of those myself, I don't ever lose sight of the fact that the game is played by human beings. And when I look around the Steelers' offices and routinely see James Harrison floating around, and I remember, because I was there and covering it, the way things fell out when he ended up going to Cincinnati and then New England. I just remember thinking it was, even though he was the one that forced Mike Tomlin's hand, much more so than the other way around, so wrong. That dude was one helmet all the way. He was a Steeler to the core as a player, and he never should have been anything but things get mended and whatever. And maybe this is kind of what you're getting at, Demond, is that Cam could come back at some point. You didn't say this, but I'm extrapolating on my own. Even if he finishes his career somewhere else, nothing stops him from coming back to Pittsburgh and doing all the wonderful things that he does here, not just for the team, but also for the community. I just don't like it. I feel there's a value in the lifetime Steeler or Steelers. And then when those guys come back the way they did to help out Troy Polamalu in a charity cause over at Acrisure Stadium, but even before that, at a practice on the South Side where all of the current players saw Troy and so many others of his peers just standing there watching the practice and available to chit-chat with somebody if they wanted, shake hands. That matters. It sets you apart. It does. You think they do this stuff in Jacksonville? It's a part, maybe a small part, but a part of what keeps the team as consistently competitive as it is. The expectation, the standard The standard as a line was concocted by Mike Tomlin, but the standard as an actual standard is set by the people on the field. And that includes the people who were on the field. I don't want Cam going somewhere else. That's what I'm telling you, DeMond. I don't want him going somewhere else. I don't believe that he will go somewhere else. And I am totally good with that. I appreciate the question, though. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. We'll be back with another one of these Monday when we'll be yet another week closer to actual football.